Hey guys, we're back. We're going to talk a little bit more about The Mandalorian, Season 1, Episode 3. It's a recap review. I'm a blind film critic, and I watched this audio description on Disney Plus. So, whence we last left uh, Mando had just rescued Grogu from the Fireflies, and I'm getting so confused. What happened again? What show am I in? Pedro Pascal is having the time of his life right now. He's in like the two most popular things simultaneously. Although The Last of Us did have its season finale, so it will become less of a problem. Unless at the end of the Mandalorian season, there's suddenly another Pedro Pascal series that's really popular. Pedro Pascal joins Halo or something. It's like, God, this man, his success. So, this episode, they finished with the, right where we left off, actually. The whole, yeah, we bathed. He's clean or whatever from bathing in the holy waters and almost dying. And Bella's like, "Did you see anything down there?" And he's like, "Nah, I didn't realize it was that deep." And she's just like, "What? I was like, "I don't know, dude. Did you not feel like you were being pulled down? Like, I don't understand that segment. Like, you didn't realize that something grabbed you?" And we just kind of left it, and Bo just is kind of like, "All right, well, yeah, whatever," and so kind of moves on. Just so weird that we just kind of walked away from that segment, but yeah. So then we move on to uh, them, getting out and leaving the planet, and oh my God, TIE fighters, right? TIE fighters come in, and there's that great TIE fighter segment. And they blow up Bo's house, and she's pissed. Luckily, she listens to reason, and Mando gets her out of there before she goes on like a suicide mission. Because for some reason, there's like a ton of ton of TIE fighters, like just out of nowhere. And they don't really know why. I'm sure it will be explained to us all with the second half of the episode. This is a weird episode. This is a weird season. I gotta say, I don't know what we're doing here, but I don't know. It's a weird season. So they go back and, yep. At first that the douche king is guarding the way, and he's like, "You are an apostate." And Mando's like, "You're an asshole." No. He didn't really say that because it's Disney Plus, but he's thinking it. So instead of punching the guy in the face and just walking past him, he's like, "I bathe in the holy waters. I am redeemed." And the guy's like, "All right, we'll see about that." So after testing the water, they find out that it was water was the sacred water, whatever they call it. And lo and behold, Bo has also been redeemed because she dove in after him and came out and has not removed her helmet since. So even though she didn't really care about necessarily being redeemed, we heard her whole backstory last episode about, being a Mandalorian and how she really feels about all that stuff. I don't know how long that helmet's gonna stay on, but it's on for now. And instead of doing anything remotely interesting with the rest of this storyline, we decided to jump to a completely different set of characters. Just like on another planet. Literally. We jumped to another planet. We jumped to Coruscant. And there's this amnesty program for, I guess, ex-Empire people who used to be part of the Empire being reintegrated into society and having to go through this program. And we meet up with this doctor who had been doing like cloning research, and he was part of the Empire, and he really believes that the cloning research, which he swears he got into because people on this planet were dying, he wanted to be able to clone um, like body parts and organs, stuff like that. Like he wanted to, you need a new liver? Gotcha, I got you. I'm just gonna clone a new liver for you, which is actually kind of brilliant because then you never have to wait for a transplant. You never have to worry about whether or not, if you could clone your own DNA, your own liver, then you wouldn't have to worry about rejecting, the transplant rejection and everything like that. Not that I think that Star Wars shows think about things like that. I'd love to see a Star Wars show take the details so seriously, where they're like, we tried, we did we replaced his lungs, but his body's rejecting it. We don't have the rejection medication necessary. Be like, wow, this is Grey's Anatomy up in here. But, yeah, so, this guy who, I sometimes I'm scared to look up the actor. I didn't do a YouTube review of Guillermo del Toro's Cabin of Curiosities, but oh my god, the acting in that show is just atrocious. And then I looked at the cast, and I looked at it, and I was crying. I was just like, oh my god, why are you guys so bad? There's so many talented people in this show. What is happening? And I'm like, are they intentionally being told to act really terrible? Is this like a thing? Is this like does Guillermo del Toro like admire, like, I don't know, shitty horror movies? And he's telling you guys to act like you're in a shitty horror movie? I don't get it. So, anyway, this doctor is not a good actor. The doctor, I don't know. It started with a P. I've already forgotten. Luckily, I was allowed to forget. So, yeah, we go through the whole thing. He's like, I like the travel biscuits. I was like, oh god, that sounds stupid. But they're probably going to start popping up at Disney theme parks. Travel biscuits. I think like $10 at a Disney theme park, and people will be like, ooh, what is it? And it's kind of, I don't know. It was food before, it's food now. Nothing changed. They just slapped Star Wars on it and sold it to you. So yeah, Mando is not in the second half of the Mandalorian. Instead, we follow people who were formerly Empire, his neighbor. It's funny that they all have these weird sort of like TK906, like these weird names, which I don't know. Pick a name. That'll help you assimilate a little bit better. At least the doctor knows what his name is. Everybody else just seems to kind of be identified by their call sign or whatever that's called. And his neighbor is like, oh, if you think the work is important, then by God, I'm going to help you do it. So they get out of the city, and they're going to go and they're going to get some scrap. They're going to get this medical thing that he needs to be able to help cloning. And then all of a sudden, bam, out of nowhere, all these people show up. They know they're there. Turns out his neighbor is a spy. Turns out his neighbor is a douche. Turns out his neighbor is also clearly has ulterior motives, and is maybe not working entirely for the good guys at the time. She's clearly, the whole point of this episode was to find out that there's some nefarious plot unfolding with this random ex-Empire person on Coruscant. God, I hope this season turns that into something, because if not, then this was a total fucking waste of time. I hated the second half of this episode. I was like, what are we doing here? Because it took up so much time. And I was waiting. I was like, who is here? Are we gonna run into one of some of the characters from the past? I was like, is Rosario Dawson gonna pop up? What is happening? None of that happened. It was all to set up this one character. And I'm like, she better damn well be the best evil villain like this show has ever seen, or like the number two to like the like some crazy like Kylo Ren better be sweeping in here all of a sudden and just be like, I'm here. I'm in the Mandalorian now. I don't know, but I think you get what I'm saying. Like, the episode felt like a waste. It was a lot of just sitting around and talking, and it kind of reminded me. Up until this point, I was asking myself the question, why? You know, I mean, they haven't really made a Star Wars movie since Solo. You know, they haven't really wanted to make another Star Wars. Solo kind of killed a lot of the other projects, the side projects that they have. They've rumored about some things, but nothing everything seems to be kind of like far enough out there in the future where it's like, I don't know, we might make it, maybe. Mandalorian kind of seems like it could maybe be a film if they wanted it to be, but shit like this is not going to help. And the writing and the acting for these characters was not great. I don't know what else to say about that. It's just not on par with the rest of the series. I already kind of pointed out last week that Katie Sackhoff is just not a great actress to play Bo-Katan, but this guy, I don't know what's up with this guy and his acting, but it was driving me insane. That's about it. The audio description, I guess, was good. I didn't have any problems following it. I was just so disconnected, and I got more and more disconnected as I stayed. I didn't even realize how long the second half of the episode was. I was like, oh my god. This ended up being a long episode. It was like 52 minutes, and some Mandalorian episodes hover around like 40. They're like 38 minutes, 43 minutes. It's like a longer episode. This episode really felt like what we needed to know was in the second half of this episode. And that better be the payoff. I mean, I grant Mandalorian a lot of leeway here. I'm not just going to be like, the Mandalorian, because I do enjoy the Mandalorian. I think it's the best Star Wars thing that we do. But right now, I don't really see what the purpose of this is. And I know that they're asking for our patience in doing so, but I think the patience is being tested a little bit. I think the story either needed to be broken up more or not dominating so much of the episode. I feel like I've spent the least amount of time with Mando. This show keeps going away from the title character and going into other side characters. You know, we spend time with Bo-Katan and her fighting off and trying to get to Mando, who's trapped, and the spider monsters keeping him, and it just isn't as interesting. And I still want to know what's up with the pirates. The pirates of Dark Water just seem to disappear. So there's a lot of things happening this season, a lot of ideas, but they haven't really molded it together in a cohesive idea yet. So as far as the audio description goes, I think the audio description was probably most effective in the TIE fighter sequence. If I had to pick a sequence where I thought the workers really stand out, would be when they're zooming around. It pointed out the weightlessness of the, I don't know, do I have to remember what that drone's name is? Is the drone going to become a permanent part of the series? Of the drone that hasn't been really evolved enough yet as a character for me to care what his name is. Weightless. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, I like The Mandalorian, but I don't know that we're trending in the right direction. I think it was getting really interesting. It was getting really good. And then all of a sudden we switch to this, and dude's in the opera house, and he's like, I've learned the error of my ways. I see now that what the Empire had done is, and I was like, oh God, who is this guy? And I hope he's not he is a major character. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Yes, alright. So, this is gonna piss off Mandalorian fans, but I'm gonna give Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 3 a B+. We're sliding down. Sliding on down. And that's being generous. I'm being generous because I like the first half of the episode, and I'm allowing that to weigh heavily here. And I'm also being generous in the fact that I'm hoping this leads to something, but imagine if it didn't. Just live in my world for a second. Imagine if that went nowhere. Imagine if we never go back to that character and they were just showing us this scene on Coruscant. Would you like this episode? I don't think you would. I think we're all in this like, okay, so this is gonna, they're really setting something up here. Some badass is gonna happen. Darth Maul's coming back and he's gonna, I don't know. It's gonna be crazy. I can feel it. Yeah, I mean, that's what we hope, but we don't know. We don't know where this is going. All I do know is that was boring as shit. That was so fucking boring. Alright, so thanks for watching. I'm sure I've angered the Star Wars fans out there, but yeah, that's life. If I haven't angered you, please subscribe so we can continue to talk about this stuff. And I look forward to talking about next week's episode. I really look forward to giving this show an A grade this season. That's what I want. I want another great episode. I want something that's just like, oh my God. Because The Mandalorian, part of the reason why I haven't given it an A this season is because I know what its potential is. Past 2 seasons, Mandalorian has shown its hand and has revealed how good it can be when it wants to be. And I don't know that it's gotten there. It's gotten close, but it has not reached that level of storytelling, and it has not reached that level of... It's so concerned with Mandalorian's redemption in the first 2 episodes. And in this 3rd episode, he gets his redemption, and then we just cut away. And we go over to these other guys. And I'm like, who the fuck are these guys? I don't care. I do not care. So, I will see you back here next week with more Mandalorian. And until then, I will see you on the other side.